Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves. Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to part 2 of the 2022 edition of our Halloween show / pirate murder mystery party. So last week we looked mostly at the bottles that I had built for the Pillaging Pirate Tavern. Today we're going to look at a couple of the other props, and then we are going to look at the costumes and talk a little bit about the party. So let's get started. So a few months ago, I got another one of those Lindbergh Pirate pistols, and I cut the face off of the handle, and I went ahead and put one of those many skulls that I've got in its place, and like how that turned out. I needed a sign for the tavern, and I had this one custom made, Pillaging Pirate Tavern, time flies when you're having rum, and I absolutely love how this turned out. This is what we hung out front of the house for the party. I have this wine rack in my front room, and as you can see, I've got the Weenie Dog skeleton and a bunch of other skeletons on it, as well as some purple and orange lights, LED lights, that are constantly going. So I had this decorated and going. On that, I also put this black pearl in a bottle, and trying to keep with a pirate theme, I brought in all of these characters. These are the ones that we reviewed a few months ago, so I got them assembled. You can see here in the black light that I have how well they glow, the bones on them. This is a nightlight that I bought off Amazon. It's a dragon, and the smoke on it looks absolutely fabulous, so I put that on there as well. You can see how these guys turned out. Yeah, I really like how these glow in the dark. Now, with this one, I didn't just paint it up. What I did with the treasure chest is I put some gold glitter. Then I took some of these little jewels that I had, some green ones, some red ones, and put in there, as well as painting the pearls white and a few black pearls here and there. You can see my crab missing his claws, because I needed those for something else, for the Yeti of the Sea. But you can see how this turned out. I used actual sand for the island, because just painting it wasn't going to cut it for me. So this is how he turned out. There's our Grim Reaper. And you can see I've painted a phosphorescent paint on his bones and his skull. And here's these two again. This is after I turned the lights out completely and they just glow. And my bag of skulls here in the background. So these are all going to be on the wine rack along with him. Remember him from last year, the Forgotten Prisoner? This year I put a pirate hat on him. So, arr matey. So the house. Here's the front yard. Before I started anything, I thought this would be a great place for a graveyard. One of my viewers, a gentleman named Mark, had given me these headstones that he had. They are high density foam, beadboard, I guess you call it. Anyway, I went ahead and drew out what I wanted to say on it. Took a soldering pencil, went ahead and melted in the words on this one. And then I went over it with some gray house paint, kind of lightly stippling it on there to fill in these kind of roughed areas, and you see how this turned out. Now I'm still going to weather it, and you'll see how that turned out here in a minute. But there you go, there's that one. Keeping on with the pirate theme and black sails, Billy Bones. This is one that I redid. He did have a Billy Bones, and I decided to go ahead and redo it. And, of course, something dedicated to Harold. Long John Harold. Al Bundy had something on Married with Children once, Long John Buck. So then here lies Lester Moore, 4 shots from a smooth bore. No less, no more. Now I'm going to put all these up in the front. I need a pirate skeleton, so I'm going to use this character here, this skull, And these arms and legs that a friend of mine donated, I don't have a torso, but I think we can make this work. So I got this little guy, remember Scully from the doghouse last couple of years? Goes back and forth and moans. Whoa. You can see exactly, Finley, you can see the bones there in the corner, the tombstones, and a little skull fence all the way along the front. And here it is in the daytime, so you can better see it. My little pirate skeleton, my my weenie dog skeleton. Rest in peace, Long John Harold. And then I did Rubio the Cruel as well as an homage to one of the Al Bundy episodes. So that's how the front is. It's ready to rock and roll. Let's get this party started. So to start things out, I, of course, invited everybody. When they show up, I give them this envelope. I went ahead and used some sealing wax that I had purchased and a pirate seal to seal this this envelope that I had made. And inside of it was their clue for the first round that we play. And some of them even had a piece of a pirate map in it. For the gentlemen, I did a gold seal. For the lady pirates, I did a pink seal. And you can see how that looks here. So I've got the guests starting to show up, and we had to do this inside because the weather changed. Here is the Yeti Odyssey, and you can see how this turned out in its final form. I put this up on a shelf that I have near my back door on display. I displayed each one of the ships. This one I put here on the shelf, displayed one on my breakfast bar, and I displayed two others on the main table. For the captain of that ship, here we have my friend Jason. Jason is a hairdresser by trade, hence how he is so stylish with his hair and whatnot. This outfit absolutely nailed it. And he was playing the part of Captain Morgan Cavendish, who is the captain of the Yeti Odyssey. Now, he was the only one that had a parrot on his shoulder. He named it Petey. And that is an homage to Dumb and Dumber, the little parakeet named Petey, the dead one that the little kid had. Still makes me laugh. So next up on the main table, we have the black onyx, and it on display. It did get beat up by the wind a little bit, by the way. But my friend Dave, one of my friends named Dave, played the part of Captain Jack Black Sparrow, and this is how he looked. Absolutely nailed, I think, the captain look for this party, and he really played this part well. Dave I've known for probably 30 years, and he used to have an office right next to mine. And here he is with his girlfriend Elia, and we'll go over her part in just a moment, but this is the backdrop we used for the pictures. It's one I got off of Amazon. This is my son's friend and friend of the family, Brian, and Brian is playing the part of the third mate of the Black Onyx Calico John Rackham. So let's move over to the Raging Cannon. I had this on display on the counter, and next up is my friend Dave's wife, Michelle, and she is playing the part of Captain Ponce Hawthorne, who is the captain of the Raging Cannon. I think she nailed the part perfectly. Here is Elia again. She is playing the part of Lady Ocean Dragon Smythe, the first mate on the Raging Cannon. Next up we have Jason's girlfriend and friend of the family, Tristan. She's playing the part of Gunpowder Grace Darkwaters. She's the second mate on the Raging Cannon. My good friend Danielle, who is playing the part of Bonnie Ann Blackbeard, who is the helmsman on the Raging Cannon. And I think she really nailed that part very well. She did try the hat on and looks great in one of the captain's hats. So we might have to promote her, but she did a great job and helped me set up for the party. Next is my son Isaac, and he is so talented. I asked him to play the part of Mary the Dagger Red, who is the third mate on the Raging Cannon, typically disguised as a male, but plays the part of a lady pirate. And he's so flamboyant, just did a great job and nailed this this thing, I think. Well, now for my former ship, the El Lobo de Mar, the one that I was deposed as the captain, supposedly, by my treacherous first mate who held a mutiny and gave me the choice. I could either walk the plank or I could go and be a bartender. So I decided to be a bartender. And my mutinous first mate, who's now the captain, is my friend Mark, is playing the part of Captain Barnacle Burntbeard, the captain of the El Lobo de Mar. And he actually winds up in round 2 being the person that gets killed. So he's a ghost after round 2. We got to figure out who done it. Now, my friend Dave, who is Michelle's husband, he is playing the part of the first mate of the El Lobo de Mar, and that is Jolly Turner. Great job with the beard. Yeah, he really looked the part. So here we are all together. You can see the setup with the table, the 2 ships on the table, the chips and salsa and guac, and our seating arrangement. Now we had the overhead lights on here so we could take a group picture. It was too wet outside and rainy to go outside and take a picture. So here we are all stuffed in together, the whole group. So during round 1, here we got the lights on for a minute so the guys can read their clues, and they would kind of get to know each other, talk with each other a little bit, have some of the guac and the salsa, and it was really a good time and fun interaction. So here we all are together, Mark. After about 45 minutes of round 1, we paused and we had a little pirate trivia. These 8 questions. Number 1, what was the fate of the most famous pirate, Captain Kidd? Well, he was hung. But we've got kind of some multiple choice questions here. And you can pause them and read them. You see most of them are like multiple choice. Who's generally second in command on a ship, on a pirate ship? And the answer to that really is, besides a first mate, because usually they didn't have a first mate, usually that would be the quartermaster. That would be the person who was in charge of divvying out all the goods, and deciding which things to plunder and which things not to. So, but yeah, some kind of fun things here. There was a couple of them that the folks knew, and most of them were brand new to them. The flag that sails atop a pirate ship is often called a Jolly Roger. And who was the famous pirate credited with coining that phrase? And the answer to that was supposed to be Jack Rackham. So anyway, kind of a fun little thing to do to break up the rounds. After we were done with this part of it, we decided to go ahead and have dinner, which was Hawaiian haystacks. For those of you who don't know what Hawaiian haystacks are, well, it's Chinese noodles, and you have rice, usually white rice or sticky rice, with a chicken sauce with chunks of chicken, and then you can top it with peas and onions, green onions, cheese, olives, things like that. You can see in this picture here, we had plenty of light with all of the candles. My camera picks up really low light very well, but it was a great atmosphere with all the candles lit, and I did have a couple of lanterns as well, but plenty of light. And between rounds, some of the chicanery that we did was, more pictures and just some real fun things that the kids were doing. You can see the ships here and the candles. After the murder, started the investigation round, where everybody would talk to each other and ask different questions about who they think did it. And well, finally we wound up, after another 45 minutes, moving to round 3, which is the accusation round and kind of the final reveal. Again, here's the drinks that I had. I had some, it's not really rum, it's root beer. Then I had what I called this scurvy punch, which was just some lemon lime and some, and of course you guys remember the bar, the drinks that we had, and some of the folks imbibed in some of the rum, and they had a really, really good time. So here's another one of the props that I made. You guys have seen me put this up before. These medallions that I made out of resin. The centerpiece there is the original, and these others are made out of resin. I did a gold for the best costume. The silver was for the best actor, and then the bronze was for the person who guessed who the murderer was first. So here we are in round 3, guessing the murderer. You can barely see my bald head there on the far right. But the first off, the best costume, hands down, went to Jason as captain of the Yeti Odyssey. Great costume. It was almost unanimous. Everybody voted for him. For the best actor, well, folks gave that to Tristan, who had done an amazing job with her angry character. She did a wonderful job with that. If you look on the far left, you can see Mark in the glasses wearing a sign around him that says victim, and it says, "I'm the victim and I can't talk, and one of you scallywags murdered me." It was kind of a fun little sign that I had made up for this. But now we've got to reveal who the murderer is. So we all guessed who they thought the murderer was, and they all blamed me, being the deposed former captain and the ability to poison the rum. They almost all blamed me. There was one person who blamed Gunpowder Grace, and that was Tristan, blamed her for the murder. And it turned out that she was the murderer in this particular case. Yep, Tristan is the one that did it. Great job with her acting, and the person who guessed that it was her was Jason, actually. This young man, really brilliant. He was kind of a last-minute addition to our group because I needed a captain for that 4th ship. Hence, he didn't have all of the cards that he should have. He had to improvise quite a bit, and he did a wonderful job. So here we are, finishing up at the end. One of the things I had them do, because they'd all seen the treasure map, I gave them all a copy of the treasure map, asked them to write where they thought the treasure was buried, and Jason actually came the closest. Where he put his name is where it was, but he came the closest of anybody else. Well, and here we are, back to the bartender of the Pillaging Pirate Tavern. Thanks, folks, for watching. This was an incredible time. We had just a fun time setting it up, getting everything together, and executing this. We hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks.